Reporter breaks protocol, immediately gets swift karma from the White House by US4Trump.com. CNN correspondent Kaitlan Collins tried to make herself famous early today while at a press event meant to highlight an official meeting with the EU Commission president. She took it upon herself to rudely shout out the same couple of questions over and over again while her colleagues were apparently suggesting she stop. However, it isn't uncommon today that we see a press member grandstand like this to ask a question they probably won't get an answer to. Unfortunately for her, though, this time there were unexpected consequences coming her way. After Kaitlan Collins' childlike episode of yelling and fussing, the White House issued an official statement laying down the ban hammer on Kaitlan Collins. The White House statement: at the conclusion of a press event in the Oval Office, a reporter shouted questions and refused to leave despite repeatedly being asked to do so. Subsequently, our staff informed her she was not welcome to participate in the next event, but made clear that any other journalist from her network could attend. She said it didn't matter to her because she hadn't planned to be there anyway. To be clear, we support a free press and ask that everyone be respectful of the presidency and guests at the White House. So it's because look what took place here.
Keep going. Are you worried about what is on the other tapes, Mr. President? Keep going. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, sir. Why is longer food not accepting your recommendation? Come on. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Let's go. Come on, guys. Thank you very much. Why is longer food not accepting your invitation, Mr. President? Thank you.
Well, and the irony of the statement is that in the official White House statement, it said Kaitlan stated it didn't matter to her because she didn't plan on being there at the next event anyway. Let's take.
I want to go quick to the White House, where in an unprecedented move, CNN correspondent Kaitlan Collins was actually banned from a late afternoon press event in the Rose Garden because the White House simply didn't like the questions she asked the president early.
It wasn't the right time to ask those specific questions, okay? And look, you see how CNN is like, like one of those tabloids. I think the tabloids have more credibility than CNN. It wasn't the time. So they planned on this happening. They knew what was going to happen. I mean, really, CNN?
Here in the day, Kaitlan, you were the network pool reporter representing the 5 television networks when you asked the president about that secret audio recording that the president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, made of them discussing a hush money payment to a Playboy playmate who allegedly had an affair with Mr. Trump. Tell us.
And nobody could care less. How about that?
Precisely what happened, because it's very, very worrisome.
Really?
Yeah, that's right, Wolf. So I was blocked from attending an open press event here at the White House because the White House did not like the questions I posed to President Trump earlier in the day during an event in the Oval Office with the President of the European Commission. So to walk you through exactly what was going on.
Was that the appropriate question when they're with the EU president there? Was that the appropriate question? They were trying to embarrass him. I mean, really? Unbelievable.
Was representing the rest of the television networks during this spray, which is what we refer to it here at the White House, in the Oval Office. We were brought in for the top of the meeting between the president and the president of the European Commission. Both men delivered remarks, and then I and several other reporters started asking President Trump questions. This is a normal occurrence, and it is often our only chance to ask President Trump questions that day, and
She's
he
even
often
laughing.
responds to us, Wolf. So to give you a sense of the questions that the White House did not like that we posed to President Trump, here they are.
Did Michael Cohen betray you, Mr. President?
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President, did Michael Cohen betray you?
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. President, are you worried about what Michael Cohen is going to say to prosecutors?
Let's keep going.
Are you worried about what is on the other tapes, Mr. President?
Thank you all. Let's keep going. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Why has Vladimir Putin not accepted your invitation?
Keep going. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Let's go. Come on, guys. Thank you very much.
We're done. We're done. Let's go. Why has Vladimir Putin not accepted your invitation, Mr. President?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, Wolf, the questions I asked, in case you couldn't hear them, was if the president was upset and felt that Michael Cohen, his former attorney, had betrayed him by allowing the release of that audio recording. We also asked if he was worried about what Michael Cohen would say to prosecutors. As you know, the president was tweeting about that recording with Michael Cohen just this morning on his Twitter account. And then I also asked the president if why Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, had not accepted his invitation to the White House yet. That was before the White House announced that they were going to postpone that meeting until next year. Now, Wolf, after that event was over, the president did not answer questions. He said, "Thank you." We left the Oval Office. And then later, I was called into the office of Bill Shine, the president's latest hire, who is his right-hand man for communications. It was him and the press secretary, Sarah Sanders, who told me that I would not be invited to an open press event here in the Rose Garden moments later at the White House because they thought the questions that I posed to President Trump were inappropriate for that venue.
I agree.
told them that is often our only chance to ask the president questions. Those questions were questions any reporter would have asked, and I was there to represent all of the networks and therefore ask about the questions of the day along with the other reporters and my colleagues in that room. Because of that, the White House blocked me from going to an open press event here at the White House that all reporters are allowed to go because they did not like the questions that I asked President Trump about the news of the day, Wolf.
It's truly shocking. It's really unheard of. I've never heard of it. This is an open event. You're an accredited White House correspondent. Earlier in the day, you did precisely what you were supposed to do, representing the 5 television networks. You asked a question, you asked a couple of questions, others did as well. That's what happens at every photo opportunity. The White House knows this. But then what is truly shocking, they reprimand you, they call you in for this meeting with Bill Shine, the Deputy White House Chief of Staff in charge of communications, and then he does something I've never heard of, and I was a White House correspondent for 7 years. He blocks you because of what you did, which was legitimate journalism. He blocks you from attending an open event in the Rose Garden simply because you asked questions they didn't like. It's truly shocking to hear that. And I think all of our colleagues, anyone who has ever served as a White House correspondent, I don't think anyone's going to remember a time where they block an accredited White House correspondent from a major news organization in the United States from attending an open event in the Rose Garden. So what's been the reaction since then, Caitlin?
Well, Wolf, we haven't heard anything else from the White House. We did send some CNN photographers and other reporters to that briefing, but they said to that press conference, that open press availability with the president, but they said I specifically could not go into that press conference. We have not had any other press availabilities here at the White House today. There was no White House press briefing with any of the press secretaries to take our questions in a public setting here in the briefing room where I'm standing now, Wolf. And I was simply just doing my job, asking questions of the president about the news of the day, some of the things the president had already...
Okay, we heard that. So she knew she wasn't going to plan on going anyway, which shows that she knew she was in the wrong and had sour grapes about the whole thing. This seems more than anything else like none other than fake outrage from CNN. They planned it like that so they can get, something to stir the people up, which is just about the business as usual for them anyway. Maybe the next reporter will use a little bit of more manners before they try to ask stupid questions they don't expect answers to. They knew they weren't going to get an answer, and they knew she knew she was going to be thrown out. So this is just like more hype to get to get people to react again. You see. And they're going for anything. Cohen tapes. It's a big nothing burger already. and they're pressing for answers on the Cohen tapes. Yes, and it is disgraceful for Cohen. Your attorney is supposed to be working for you, not against you, and it seems as if Cohen was taping people. So what does that tell you? That he's a shill of an attorney. No attorney with any reputation, any good reputation, would have done that. And so I'm more than sure he was paid off by the Democratic Party in order to start taping. Okay, so that's all you need to know in this scenario. And she knew she was going to be banned. They just wanted a headliner, but it's not working. The people know your antics. CNN, their ratings are down, so they need something in order to boost their ratings. They need another headliner. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.